welcome back guys to another episode of Restore to Explore. We're working on the HZ Kingswood as always, and today we're finishing off all the little bits that need to be done to get this car roadworthy. We need to get this car blue slipped and we need to get it registered and on the road where it belongs. So a couple of things we're going to be working on today. We've got the final bits of the suspension to go in, so shocks, bushes, a couple of things to sort out with the fuel system and the ignition system. The car's not running right and yet to figure out why. So we're going to dive into that. And then just a couple of other things we've got to tidy up. We've got to get all the lights working. We've got to do a little bit of wiring. So got the car back up on the hoist. Going to go ahead and put the front and rear shocks in to start off with, and then move on to a couple of the other things. Alright, so I'm just swapping out the sway bar end bushes, and you'll see that's one of the old ones there, and that's one of the new ones going in. So I'm going to go ahead and put these ones in now, and then bolt the sway bar back up. Alright, so I was waiting on the fuel sender before I could put the fuel tank back in, and it wasn't supposed to get here till next week, but just rocked up. So about to put this back into the tank, get the tank back into the car, get some fresh fuel in, and then we can fire this thing up and see how it runs, which I'm pretty excited to do. Just looking, there's a couple of things we can tick off this list, so I'm going to go ahead, tick off everything we've done because there's not much left. Alright, so the next thing that I'm doing is I'm making up a little bit of a custom number plate light. Now this is the factory one here, and where the globe goes is all corroded out, and unfortunately it's just going to be a little bit hard to reuse. So I went and picked up a little LED number plate light from Super Cheap. This was about 20 bucks, but I need to adapt it so that it bolts downwards, and you'll see it's got the studs at the back. So just need to cut up a little bit of angle, drill some holes, and then I'll be able to mount this in the rear bumper, get it all wired up. And then that will be our solution for a number plate light. Alright, there's our little number plate light shining down. You can see it's all tucked up in behind there. Just got it wired into the factory wiring. Nice new light. Alright, next up I've just put some new wiper blades into the windscreen wipers. I'm going to have to put these ones on. Alright, so I'm having some suspicions about the ignition system in this car. After we did the stuff with the fuel tank, it's still not running correctly, and I don't think it's the fuel system unless one of the jets or something in the car is actually broken, which at this point I'm not sure because I have had a lot of problems with this refurbished Carby. So what I'm actually doing at the moment is I've gotten an old electronic distributor and swapping it out with the old point style distributor that I've got. Now this is the original points distributor that came with this engine when I bought this car, so realistically it is in unknown condition, and I do have a second-hand electronic distributor, so I'm going to swap that in, see if that helps us at all. I do have a full new ignition system, so new leads, coil, and an electronic distributor on the way, but I just want to swap this in just to see if this makes a difference, and if not, and if I can swap the coil over and that's not the problem, then I might look into either getting a rebuild kit for this Carby or pulling the jets back out and having a further look and maybe going down that route, because there's good thing about these is there's not many things to go wrong. It's either the ignition or the fuel, and that's it. We've done a compression test, it's got 200 psi in every cylinder, so it's not that, so it's one of these sides of the engine. So let's swap this out and see if this makes a difference. Alright, so new electronic distributor, new old coil, and new old leads. So swapped out all the old stuff, and we're going to chuck the timing light back on it, reset the timing, and then see how it runs. Alright, so it continues. So we did all the adjustments with all the new ignition system, and it's running a heck of a lot better. So there was something going on with that old system. But it's not running as well as it should. It's running a lot better, but not perfect. So that carby, as I've said, when I first got it, it was actually put together incorrectly, and it was a refurbished carburetor, so I had to rebuild it and put it together properly. And then I've had other issues with it and found some gunk in it, so not 100% confident with that. I do have an old Stromberg here, very rusty, it's in really bad shape, but I'm going to pull this apart, try and clean it up and put it on and just see what happens. And if not, I'll have a spare carby. So I'm going to pull this apart, put some of the parts in the ultrasonic cleaner, clean it up, and see what happens. First piece, which is the main body of the carby, in the ultrasonic cleaner, and then I've got these two pieces here. So I've got this on a 25-minute timer with some acid solution in there, and I reckon when this goes back together, it's going to work better than the other one. Anyway, we'll have to wait and find out.
I still think about you a lot. Do you think about me?
Alright, so I just fitted the 40-year-old unrebuilt carby. We've just chucked it in the ultrasonic cleaner. That's all we've done. We're gonna turn the key, see if anything happens at all. If it even starts, I'll be impressed. If it runs better, I'll be amazed. Let's see. Attempt number 1. It's gonna have to get fuel up there first. Wait, it's leaking fuel. It's just leaking out of that connection, which is just a fuel line, so I just tightened that up. I'm just going to make sure it doesn't do that again, but it went to fire. Alright, attempt number 2. It actually starts! So cool. Well, it started and it's running, but it's still got the same problem as before. It makes this really weird popping noise. It's misfiring and it's pushing fuel back out the carby, which usually means a timing issue, but all the timing's right. So still a little bit stuck on what the cause of this issue is, but this might be for next time. And that should just be revving really freely, not doing that spluttering noise. So I was hoping to have this kind of done by the end of this episode, but as it happens, things didn't always go as planned and still not running right. So yeah, the next thing that I'm going to probably look towards is making sure that none of the valves are stuck closed, because this engine had sat for so long after it had been rebuilt. It wouldn't be surprising if some of the valves are actually stuck, and then that can cause back pressure to come back through the intake manifold and out the carby, because the timing's all set right, and it's still backfiring through the carby, not through the exhaust, through the carby. So if you guys have got any ideas, please feel free to chuck them in the comments down below. That'd be much appreciated. But until next time, I hope you guys enjoy this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you then. Cheers.